What I'm really excited to talk to you about today in this conversation is the subject of targets. Now, targets have become a major central theme and focus at Levin Group, and it's helping our clients grow, and even in this economy, our clients are doing just great. Targets are set with a numerical value to depict where you want to be in 12 months. So we're encouraging all of our clients to set specific targets so we know what we're trying to achieve when we build the systems and add the value creation scripting. I'm going to focus in this conversation strictly on targets. Now, what do I mean by targets? Let me give you some examples because that really helps you to understand what we're trying to achieve. Targets include concepts such as collect 99% of all money owed to the practice, decrease no-shows and last-minute cancellations to less than 1%, grow the practice by a minimum of 15% in production in the next 12 months, which is absolutely possible for any practice if it applies the three-step system of targets, systems, building the systems, and using value creation scripting. Other targets include closing 90% of all cases that are presented, increasing practice production over 3 years by 30 to 50%. And I could go on and on. So we set very specific targets. For example, another one, having 98% of all of your patients scheduled at all times. Another one, having the exact number of hygiene appointments available if 98% of all of your patients were scheduled for their 6-month, 4-month, or 3-month visits. When we analyze practices, which we have a group of analysts who go out and visit 200 practices a year, we find over and over and over again that there aren't enough hygiene appointments to get all the hygiene patients in. Then there's no system that gets the patients in on a regular basis, and yet we have doctors complaining that they need more new patients. This is where the targets of the one-day rules come in. Any patient who's overdue gets a call the very next business morning. Any patient who owes money gets a call when they're 1 day overdue. Any patient who does not accept treatment gets a call the next business morning. So targets are an amazing way to build companies. I mean, the best companies set targets first. Once you have targets, then you build systems to achieve them. If you know that you're going to schedule 98% of all your patients in the next 90 days, which is what happens with our clients, then you build a schedule to accommodate that. We use a technique called PowerCell scheduling, and we build the schedule to accommodate it. Unfortunately, what I see in most offices is that systems exist, but there are no targets, so the systems actually are keeping you where you are today. You may not realize that, but a lot of the systems in practices and practice management is all about systems. That's my mantra. Practice management is all about systems. If you're not building new systems on a regular basis to achieve new targets, you're either going to stay where you are today, or, as we've seen evidenced in the last few years of a tough economy, you're going to decline. And in the year 2009, actually 75% of all dental practices were in decline. We found that out when we did the Dental Economics Levin Group Annual Practice Survey. We collect a lot of data here at Levin Group. We're one of the largest data collectors in the profession because we use that data to build models and build systems. But none of that matters if you don't have targets. So every practice should have somewhere between 10 and 15 targets that they commit to achieving in the next 12 months to move you closer to achieving that 30 to 50% production growth potential over the next 3 years. We know that almost every practice we see has a minimum growth potential of 30 to 50%. How do we achieve that? Well, we do it 1 year at a time. We make incremental progress by setting the targets and building the systems. Then, once the systems have been built to achieve the targets, we make the systems work even better by a concept called value creation scripting, which I'll talk about in another conversation that you can access through our website. So if you're really interested in taking your practice to the next level, the doctor and team have to sit down and think about what are the possibilities? Where can we be in production? Where can we be in profit? Where can we be in overhead? Another target for the general dentist is having an overhead of 59% or below. Ortho, 49% or below. Oral surgery, 50% or below. Perio, 51% or below. Endo, 42% or below. And prosthodontics is the loser with overhead. Their national average is 71%. We'd like to see you at 64% or below. The reason you're not lower is your laboratory cost. Those are other examples of targets, and I left out pediatric dentistry, also 49% or below. When you set targets, you don't just hope that they happen. You don't just wait a year and see if they happened. You actually build your systems to make them happen. So when we finish this conversation, sit down and start putting your targets on paper. There are up to 50 targets a practice could use in a year, but if you have 10 to 15 major targets that you're accessing, it's going to be fantastic. An analogy that I think works is to say, if you're overweight and you target losing 30 pounds, your cholesterol will be lower. You don't have to target both the weight loss and the cholesterol because one will influence the other. You probably won't lower the cholesterol if you don't lose the weight, and if you don't lose the weight, you won't lower the cholesterol. Same thing here. If you set targets for production, profit, growth, if you set targets for scheduling 98% of your patients at all times, etc., you are going to have a practice that's going to the next level, which will reduce the other target, which is being able to reach financial independence 8 years earlier. We do a lot of financial planning for clients and money management in our partnership with RG Capital in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I can tell you now most doctors are going to work 7 to 9 years longer. So another new target is reaching financial independence 8 years earlier. Targets are the key to business success.